All right, today is day four to 12 days of player development. And today we're talking about how to effectively use data in intentional programming. And so this is a great question I got. Thank you all who sent this on LinkedIn. I left it out there so someone asked. And this is something I did at the University of Houston. We didn't get as much data. So always when I ask people ask like data, I'm like, how much data do you want? Like, do you want numbers? Do you want this? So I'm gonna use a data point we use with my athletes at the University of Houston that was very effective. So I knew we wanted to do some career programming. We wanted to do some things. And I had this like deal where I told the players like, hey, let me know what y'all want to see. Fill out this, fill out that, fill out this. They didn't fill it out. So I said, okay, cool. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to make little slips because what has worked with our players was whenever they would go on break, they had to fill out forms. Fill out a form, then bring it to us. We would sign it off and then they go to break. So they were used to filling out things and bringing it in, right? So that's the data point right there, right? All right. So what I did right there was I used what I knew from that, right? Because they didn't fill out any other things. I got 0% return on what I asked them to do. So it's like, all right, let's look at this, right? So what I did was I cut out little slips, and they just put, basically it was like, hey, you know, your name, what program would you want us to talk about? And they put some stuff there, but I said, hey, what career would you be interested in hearing from? If we had a career exploration, what career or what professional would you want to see? And so they filled this out to detail, and it was incredible. And so what I did was after the players turn those in, they turn all these in. So I had all these slips, right? And I'm sitting here looking at all these slips, and we took that data that they gave us on the slips, and we literally created an intentional program. And so what I did was I took all these slips, all these things that they were saying, like, we want to do this, we want to do this that way, we want to do that this way, right? Or I want this person to come in. So after they said how they wanted it, they said, hey, I want an engineer to come in, I want an architect to come in, I want somebody that works in sports, I want an NFL scout to come in, I'm trying to think of entrepreneurs to come in, I want a former player who has their own business come in. So they're saying all this stuff. We took all that and we reached out to these people. We use LinkedIn, we use our alumni, former player directory. We used all that. And so we were able to get 33 professionals to spend time with our players. So we, at the time, this was in the spring, so you don't have all your players. So we had about 70 or 80 guys. So you're looking at almost two per person, a little bit, probably close to three. I won't say three, but like two, let's say two per person, right? So all these athletes got to go around and we rotated to these 33 different professionals, and they were able to get the information they wanted to get. And so that was one way that I took the data. I didn't get too into the weeds. I took what the players wanted, right? And where they wanted to go, and we created programming just for that. And it was one of the programs that had a lot of success. Our players got intentional connections because we took what they said in a survey-like aspect and said, hey, we're going to take what they said, we're going to take what they want to see, and we're going to build that out. And where it also helped us, not only were our players able to get a great experience, it helped us build some relationships with former players, bringing them back, right? Helped us build some relationships in the city. I had an opportunity, one of my former teammates from high school came and talked. He worked for Exxon, and he was talking about oil and different things like that. And then one of my former students came, and she was a blogger talking about content and fashion because some guys wanted to know about fashion. My best friend actually came. He's an architect. He came, and then someone from my church came because he does sound and movie making and engineering and things like that, right? So I was able to go to my personal network, and that not only benefited the players, it benefited me as well, right? And then open it up to other people as they're like, hey, I got to speak to Houston. How do you speak to Houston? Oh, I know Ed. How do you know Ed? What is Ed doing, right? And so it kept this circle of impact, the circle of opportunity for all of us. Our former players, I remember seeing the former players, our players were able to connect. They got to talk to them about the transition. How did you do this? How are you doing this? Hey, I got your number. Can we go out to lunch, right? And so he created this thing where the players felt really, really good. And we got a lot of great data afterwards, right? Like, hey, did y'all enjoy this? We had a little, I can't remember what we did. It wasn't QR codes at that time. We did something. Basically, they just kept raving about how great it was, right? And so we were able to see that, hey, when we came back and it was a successful program, we saw that these guys will show up if you allow them to give a little bit. Can't give them everything, right? Because they'll be like, oh, we want to hear from this, and then not show up, right? But we gave them enough of what they wanted to where they showed up. So that is the way that I've used data before in the role, is using it based off a survey-like situation there. Now, with that said, how could I use it in the future, knowing what I know about data, knowing what I know about player development and what people want? We can use the data of where people are from, right? Where are people from, right? Where are people from? Where are people going to go back to during the break? Like, with so much, it's so transitional now. There can be some difficulties with data of like where people are from, where they're transitioning because they're coming from everywhere. But that can help you when you're looking at micro internships. And those players have about 3 weeks to go back home. You're able to say, okay, so-and-so, these guys are from Atlanta, Georgia. These guys are from Houston. These guys are from Dallas. They're from LA. They're from Kansas City. I'm going to reach out to companies in that area to see if they don't mind our players coming to have a externship, shadow, internship, whatever it may be. Also use that data when career placement. How many of these guys, hey, when you're done playing, what are you going to do? We know that there's a significant number of players who will not go to league. Some of these players want to go back to their hometowns, right? So we're setting up, hey, when you go back, what do you want to do? Okay, I want to do this. Let's get with somebody in hometown. So there is data. I would love to have more like numerical data. I think that is incredible. I think that's great. When you get those numbers from different areas, different ways of programming. Like now, of course, you have the, you can do the QR codes where the players can talk about if they're satisfied. Did they like this speaker? Did they not like the speaker? Was it helpful? And then you just take all that. Now, what I will say with data, in my experience, and once again, the way I did it was I saw the benefit of data, but I also didn't want to be stopped by data, if that makes sense. I didn't want to do something that didn't make sense because data says it's good, or I didn't want to do something that data says makes sense, but I know it doesn't. So this kind of like analytics in sports. Like when coaches get there and they just surrender everything to analytics, and you're reading the play, the momentum, you're like, oh, we probably shouldn't run that play, right? Or, oh, we probably should just punt it, or we should, but the analytics say to do it, right? So I never wanted to get in that because I did have to answer to a head coach, and I did have to have things for a player. So using data effectively, and the way I use it is like, what do the players want? And then in some cases, what does the coach want there? So that's day 4 of the 12 days of player development, talking about how to use data in intentional programming. Hey, if you have any ways that you use data, let me know. Also, the 2026 Player Development Summit is coming to Detroit, and I want to see you there. All the information you need is in the show notes. Click the link. I would love to see you in Detroit in 2026 at the 2026 Player Development Summit. And since we're talking about the 12 days of player development, this is day 4. You all know I'm comparing it to the 12 days of Christmas. It's the holiday season. You all like to get gifts for people. Get your loved one a copy of my book, The Player Development Guide. You can find it on Amazon, wherever you get your books online, which is Amazon. Thank you so much for being here. As always say, go out and create generational impact. Don't wait, create that generational impact today.